wabarakatuh. Hello guys, I would like to say thank you for coming in our presentation. Okay, let me introduce myself and my partner. I am Letia Febrialisti from Biology C 2018.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello guys, introduce my name is Letia Febrialisti. I'm from Non-Educational Biology Class 2018. Here I will discuss my materials, definition, ecosystem ecology, and food chains.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Fitriana Nasution. I'm from Biology and Education C 2018. And here I will convey material about types of food chains and ecological efficiency.
Hello, I'm Ofia Asimul from Biology C 2018.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello guys, I'm Sonia Fitriani from Biology C 2018.
Ecosystem ecology. The concept of an ecosystem was first formally proposed by the English botanist Arthur Tansley in 1935. An ecosystem or ecological system is a functional unit composing all the organisms in a particular place interacting with one another and with their physical environment and interconnected by an ongoing flow of energy and purchasing of materials. The most basic level of the ecological organization starts with the individual, a single plant, insect, or bird. The next level of organization is the population. Food chains. The first trophic level belongs to the primary producers. The second level to the herbivores or primary consumers, and the higher level of the carnivorous secondary consumers. Some consumers occupy a single trophic level, but many others, such as omnivores, occupy more than one trophic level. The relationship between one trophic level and adjacent trophic levels may be described by a food chain. The transfer of food energy from the producers planes through a series of organisms that consume and are consumed intermediate as a food chains. Types of food chains. There are two major food chains. The grazing food chains. In the grazing food chain, the source of energy is living plant biomass or net primary productions. The detritus food chains. In the detrital food chain, the source of energy is dead organic matter or detritus. Autotrophs and detritus-based ecosystem. The autotroph-based ecosystems depend directly on the influx of solar radiation. They are characterized by a dependency on energy captured by photosynthetic autotrophs and secondarily by the movement of that captured energy through the system via herbivora and carnivora. Ecosystems such as caves are independent of direct solar energy and are dependent on the influx of the detritus for energy. These ecosystems are regarded as detritus-based ecosystems. Ecological efficiencies. In ecosystems, living organisms are linked together by feeding relationships. Producers or autotrophs have the ability to fix carbon through photosynthesis via chlorophyll in their leaves. Herbivores are the primary consumers of organic molecules fixed by the producers. Carnivores are secondary consumers living on the organic molecules of the herbivores. Thank you. Autotrophs and detritus-based ecosystem. The autotroph-based ecosystems depend directly on the influx of solar radiation. They are characterized by a dependency on energy captured by photosynthetic autotrophs and secondarily by the movement of that captured energy through the system via herbivora and carnivora. Ecosystems such as caves are independent of direct solar energy and are dependent on the influx of detritus for energy. These ecosystems are regarded as detritus-based ecosystems. Logical efficiencies. In ecosystems, living organisms are linked together by feeding relationships. Producers or autotrophs have the ability to fix carbon through photosynthesis via chlorophyll in their leaves. Herbivores are the primary consumers of organic molecules fixed by the producers. Carnivores are secondary consumers living on the organic molecules of the herbivores. Thank you.
Types of food chains. Within any ecosystem, there are two major food chains. Number 1, grazing food chains. In the grazing food chains, the source of energy is a living plant biomass or net primary production. Number 2, detritus food chains. In the detrital food chains, the source of energy is a dead organic matter or detritus. Grazing food chains divided into primary consumer or herbivore, secondary consumer or primary carnivores, tertiary consumer or secondary carnivores. Primary consumer or herbivores form the second link in the grazing food chains. They gain their energy by consuming primary producer. Secondary consumer or primary carnivores, the third link in the chain, gain their energy by consuming herbivores. Tertiary consumer or secondary carnivores are animals that receive their energy by consuming primary carnivores. Such simple food chains are oversimplified version of the reality of feeding relationship. There are often multiple and interconnecting pathways, as well as number of different species involved at trophic level. Producers are eaten by herbivore, herbivore eaten by primary carnivore, primary carnivore are eaten by secondary carnivore. And for example of producer, grass, herbivore insect, primary carnivore, fruit, secondary carnivore, snack. Autotroph and detritus-based ecosystem. The autotroph-based ecosystem depends directly on the influx of solar radiation. They are characterized by a dependence on the energy captured by photosynthesis, autotroph, and secondary by the movement of the captured energy throughout the system via herbivore and carnivore. A large number of ecosystems function in this way, and numerous herbivores, carnivores, and omnivores are dependent on such autotroph ecosystem. Some ecosystems depend less on direct solar energy incorporation and more the influx of the organic material or the detritus producer in another ecosystem. Ecosystems such as caves are independent of the direct solar energy and are dependent on the influx of detritus for energy. These ecosystems are regarded as detritus-based ecosystems. Ecological efficiency. Percentage of energy in the biomass produced by one trophic level that is incorporated into biomass produced by the next higher trophic level is ecological efficiency, or also called as transfer efficiency or redundant efficiency. In ecosystem living, organisms are linked together by feeding relationship. For example, one producer or autotroph want the ability to fix carbon through photosynthesis via chlorophyll in their leaves. 2. Herbivores are the primary consumer of organic molecule fixed by the producer. 3. Consumers are secondary consumers living on the organic molecule on the herbivores. There may be several levels of the carnivore in any one ecosystem. In such case, the ultimate level will be occupied by the top carnivore. And the final group of the organisms in ecosystem are the composer, bacteria, and fungi, which can break down the complex organic synthesis of this material and what's produced. Consumption efficiency or exploitation efficiency. The percentage of the total productivity available at the trophic level, or P(n-1), and it actually consumed. For example, it is stated by a trophic compartment one level up, or IN. In the case of secondary consumer, it is the percentage of herbivores productivity eaten by carnivores. By using consumption efficiency, or CE, is IN divided V n-2 times 100. Consumption efficiency of herbivores are typically low in the most ecosystem dominated by pascular plants, which are, in many cases, well defended against herbivores. And for example, herbivores consume less than 10% of primary production in the most terrestrial ecosystem. Herbivore in aquatic ecosystem is generic rather than in terrestrial ecosystem, especially for alga-based ecosystem, where herbivores often consume more than 50% of primary production. And similarly, in the terrestrial forest, consumption efficiency of herbivore are less as compared to grassland, where most plants are non-woody. And thank you.
Hello, I'm Ovia Sima. I will continue the discussion about the nutrient cycling. The Earth is essentially a closed system with respect to matter and all matter on the Earth cycle. Nutrient cycling, or more precisely element cycling, is the movement of elemental, both the biotic and abiotic component of the Earth. The movement of elemental atmosphere, hydrosphere, lithosphere, and biosphere is generally termed as a biogeochemical cycle. Such cycles show little or no permanent change in the distribution and abundance of the elements. Some of the elements that are characterized by sedimentary cycles to have a gaseous phase, sulfur and iodine being among them, but these phases are significant in that there is no large gaseous reservoir. Next, general model of nutrient cycling. Although the nutrient cycling of the various elements differ in detail from the perspective of the ecosystem, all nutrient cycles have a common pattern. A general model of nutrient cycling includes the main reservoir of elements and the processes that transport elements between reservoirs. The nutrients in living organisms and in detritus are available to other organisms. First, nitrogen fixation. Natural process of nitrogen fixation are of two types: biological nitrogen fixation and non-biological nitrogen fixation, or including nitrogen fixation by lightning and photochemical reactions. Approximately 90% of nitrogen fixation is biological nitrogen fixation, in which prokaryotic organisms fix molecular nitrogen into ammonia. It is reductive biosynthetic process. Second, ammonification. Most of the nitrogen in the soil exists in organic forms. When organic nitrogen is converted in ammonium ions by bacteria and fungi, it is called ammonification or mineralization. Mineralization is a general term used for a process in which organically bound nutrients is released in an organic form. Third, nitrification. The oxidation of ammonium ions to nitrate and subsequent oxidation of nitrate to nitrate is called nitrification. It is carried out exclusively by bacteria. There are two distinct steps of nitrification that are carried out by distinct steps of bacteria. The first step in nitrification is the oxidation of ammonium ions to nitrate. The second step in nitrification is the oxidation of nitrate to nitrate. Third, denitrification. The process of conversion of NO3 into N2 by anaerobic denitrifying bacteria is called denitrification. These bacteria use nitrate rather than oxygen as an electron acceptor during respiration. This causes nitrate to be reduced, producing in turn NO2, NO, N2O, and finally N2. Denitrification can only be performed under anaerobic conditions. The process is performed primarily by heterotrophic denitrifying bacteria, although autotrophic denitrifiers have also been identified. Next, anamox. Anamox, an abbreviation of anaerobic ammonium oxidation, is a recently discovered bacterial process which involves the anaerobic oxidation of ammonium to molecular nitrogen using nitrate as an electron acceptor. Therefore, this process couples to oxidation of ammonium. Concentration of some nutrient in the soil of tropical rainforest result from a reduced nutrient cycling rate. In temperate forests, where decomposition is much slower, the soil may contain a large amount of the dead organic matter in the forest. Decomposition on land is also slower when conditions are either too dry for the composer to thrive or too wet to supply to it on enough oxygen. Okay, thank you so much for your attention. I will return it.
Okay, my friend, in this presentation, I will discuss about forest ecosystem. What do you mean by an ecosystem? Eco means environment and system means interacting, interdependent, complex. Forests are the dominant terrestrial ecosystem of Earth and are distributed across the globe. Forests account for 75% of the gross primary productivity of the Earth's biosphere and contain 80% of the Earth's plant biomass. Based on canopy cover, forests can be very dense forests, moderately dense forests, and open forests. Forest types differ widely, determined by factors including latitude, altitude, temperature, rainfall patterns, and soil composition. Climate or temperature and rainfall, soil types, and topography are the main factors that determine the type of forest. There are three major types of forest: taiga forest, temperate forest, and tropical forest. 1. Taiga forest. Taiga forest is located at higher latitudes, close to the polar region, and is dominated by middle-wave, drought-tolerant, and evergreen trees. The taiga or boreal forest has a subarctic climate. Winter is long and very cold, and summer is short and cool. Precipitation occurs primarily in the form of snow, 40 to 100 cm annually. 2. Temperate forest. Temperate forests are found in the temperate climatic zone in both the northern and southern hemisphere. They may also be called four-season forests because the forests experience four distinct seasons. In the temperate region, winters are mild and rainfall is moderate. Temperate forests are a mix of deciduous, broadleaf, and coniferous evergreen trees. They are simpler in structure than tropical forests and support a lesser number of tree species. Temperate forests can be further distinguished by weather. Where are temperate grasslands? Temperate grasslands are found in North America, Eurasia, Southern South America, Southern and Central Africa, Australia, and New Zealand. Temperate grasslands have not summers and cold winter, and the amount of rainfall, 25 to 75 cm, is less than in savannas. As in the savanna, seasonal drought and occasional fire are very important to maintain biodiversity. However, their effects are not as dramatic in temperate grasslands as they are in savannas. The type of grassland community then develops, and the productivity of grasslands depends strongly upon precipitation. Higher precipitation leads to tall grasses with a high biodiversity of grasses. Temperate grasslands can be further subdivided. Prairies are grasslands with tall grasses, while steppes are grasslands with short grasses. 3. Tropical rainforest. What is tropical rainforest? Tropical rainforests occur at low altitude zones near the equator, found within 23.5 degrees latitude of the equator, and are characterized by a high temperature, high rainfall, and greatest diversity of species. The average temperature is between 20 to 25 degrees Celsius and varies little throughout the year. Winter is absent. Annual rainfall exceeds 200 cm. Although the climate of tropical rainforest region varies geographically but is typically characterized by a mean temperature of almost exceeding 18 degrees Celsius and minimum monthly precipitation above 6 cm. Warm and moist conditions promote strong chemical weathering and rapid leaching of soluble materials.
Ecosystem Services by Sonia Fitriani. What the meaning is ecosystem services? Ecosystem services are the benefits which people obtain from ecosystems. According to IPCC, ecosystem services are ecological processes or functions which have value to individuals or society. For example, forest ecosystems purify air and water, mitigate droughts and floods, cycle nutrients, generate fertile soils, provide wildlife habitat, maintain biodiversity, pollinate crops, provide storage site for carbon and also provide aesthetic, cultural, and spiritual values. Ecosystem services are grouped into 4 broad categories. The first, provisioning service, such as the production of food and water. The second, regulating service, such as the control of climate and disease. The third, supplying service, such as nutrient cycles and crop rotation. And the fourth, cultural service, such as spiritual and recreational benefits. Control of tropic structure, top-down versus bottom-up control. The control of tropic structure via the partitioning of biomass between tropic levels is broadly divided into 2 categories. The first of these factors, bottom-up control, emphasizes the energy inputs into the primary producers and the subsequent efficiency of energy transfer between trophic levels in determining the biomass accumulation at each trophic level. The second category, top-down control, emphasizes the importance of predation in influencing patterns of biomass accumulation at different trophic levels. Seasonal change in water temperature. The temperature profile of a deep water lake often great gradient change from one season to the next and creates a cycle. Terrestrial ecosystems. Terrestrial ecosystems are those that are found on the land. Only 28% of the Earth's surface belongs to terrestrial ecosystems.
Thank you for your listening. May all those we have shared be beneficial for all of us. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.